Hello everyone, it is Susan here and welcome to my channel, Suehiles Art. And this video is my crafty chit chat and slow stitching video that I put out every Monday, and it's my favorite video of the week to make. So in this video today we are going to work on the next block that, well, I'll end up making a wall hanging. I have 4 blocks so far that we had made previously, and I'm going to put these together to make a wall hanging. And so I want 2 more though, so this will be the 6th one, and then we'll do 1 more, and then I think I'm going to sew them all together. Oops, I have that stuck. Because what I could do is take like a big piece of muslin in the size that I would need and sew these onto the piece of muslin. But then I was thinking, what I really want to do is, like, this one would go on top of this one. Like, I think what I might try to do, if at all possible, is if I turned them over, could I sew them together? And like, because I could even put, let's see if I can find a piece of fabric here just as an example. Let's see. I just want a little piece of something just to, but I want it to be a neutral color so you can understand what I want to show you. How is it that I can have this huge bin and I'm not fine? Maybe I'll just, okay. I'm just going to use this. This is a piece of something. Oh, okay. So this is a piece of linen napkin that I had used a while back. So let's just make believe that it is this shape. What I could do is I could have something this shape, right? Just enough to cover up where the blocks come together, and I could sew it on each side. Right, so I would sew it, and it wouldn't be this puffy because it would only be a single layer of fabric. I just happened to roll it up, and then I can sew on this side, and then that would hold those 2 blocks together. And as I'm talking this out with all of you, I could even then, if I took one of those long pieces and put it on the top, then what would happen is I could sew it down pretty much the same way, and then I can use that for my dowel, right? Because I would have a spot. So you know what, I'm kind of leaning towards this now. I'm just coming up with this on the fly, everybody. So I didn't think this through before. I mean, I do still think I could just maybe stitch these together with just like a really long stitch, just grabbing this back piece of muslin. I could do that. That would work. Or I could do something like this where it's almost like a patch, right? It's kind of like a patch that would serve as a connecting piece for the block. So something like that. Yeah. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. You know, I go for easy, so, you know, sewing them just together without a piece of fabric is easier. But we'll see. All right, so these blocks that I work on, I call them simplistic blocks. They are inspired by Maria Ruiz over on the Susan Taylor Brown Facebook page. And I'll have Susan's information below, and definitely check her out. And so Maria, she posts her pictures in the Facebook group of her. She calls it meditation art, meditation something. And she does beautiful work. And anyway, so that's what has inspired this whole thing. Now, last week in Monday's video, I was sharing with you that I was going to use these things. And then I decided, well, I don't want to go into the pinks too much because even though this has a little bit of the pinkier color, this is actually more of it leans towards peach, but it looks a little bit pinker, I think because of the other colors on here. But I definitely have more of the orangish, like peach type of color on the other blocks. So I didn't want to go too pink. So I decided not to use those things. But I still want to use this. I like this. It's just a piece of yarn that I think is super pretty. I do have this. This is actually from Recollections from Michael's that I bought many, many years ago that I've been using in my December dailies. And this was the last of this particular ribbon. It does have adhesive on the back, but I would sew it on here. But I thought maybe I could use this up on the next block or two. It would be nice to get that out of my stash, right? I do want to use this as my focal piece for this block. And I like the colors. I think that they will go really well with the other colors in this wall hanging. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's kind of work around this. Let me just check my screen, make sure that I'm in and everything is a-okay. So like some of these things, in fact, a lot of these pieces, I just pulled out from my smaller scrap bin right here. So I pulled some fabrics out from here. I mean, I have a lot of really like yummy pieces of fabric in here that are perfect to use to what I call collage, even though it's fabric, but they're perfect to use. Like this came out of that bin, this came out of that bin, this came out of that bin, and this came out of that bin. So, yep. So it feels good to use some of that because it's the ever-growing bin of scraps. I started with a smaller bin, then I went to this bin, and yeah, pretty soon I'm going to have to find something bigger. All right, so just kind of thinking. Now, this right here, let me explain what this is, and you're probably like, ooh, yucky, why would you use that? This is just a piece of a scrap that I had used to do a couple practice stitches on. This was the chain stitch. This is the, well, I was practicing a lazy daisy. Yeah, so I thought that the colors actually looked pretty good together. And I'm like, well, why the heck not? So let's see. Let me just kind of place some stuff together here. And I'm going to try my hardest to put, see on this piece of fabric how this edge right here is not frayed as much as the rest of them. I'm going to try to put it to where the fraying is on the outer edges. We'll see how that works. And this I love. I love using burlap. It can be a little tricky because it really frays very easily. I mean, I know you can burn it, you know, there's stuff you can do, but like I said, I am a lazy sewer and crafter. I admit that I am super lazy. So yeah, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm the kind of person that like, I'll put it on and just kind of hope it doesn't fray too much. So yeah, yep. So this here, and I'm thinking I'm going to put this big brown piece on top of all of the other pieces of fabric. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. And I like this piece right here because it has some black in it, and I think having a little bit of black is always a good thing. Now, I did have an idea of what I wanted to do before turning on the camera. I'm feeling like that I really like this composition. And then let's see, now this stuff I'm not too sure what I would do. So this is just beautiful. It's beautiful yarn. And I thought if I folded it in over, right, that I could couch this. So, you know, I could put it different places and couch it. I think I kind of like it down here, except that, let me see, if I turned it that way and then did that there, I like that because this on top of this yarn, I felt like it was a little bit too much. So maybe down here, I could couch that. And then I have this. So I could put it there. And like I said, I will sew it, even though it does have adhesive on the back. I could do something like that. I don't know if I like that angle very much though. I could take a smaller piece and kind of do this. And that's kind of what I'd like to do when I use washi tape. I like to use a smaller piece of it that doesn't go across the whole, you know, project that you're working on, and kind of have it end, you know, somewhere more in the middle. So maybe something like that I like. This could probably even go up here. I like that too. I really like this piece right here. I don't know why I like it there so much, but I do. I kind of like this down here maybe more. All right. Well, we're getting an idea, right? So I have these yo-yos as well. I mean, they're all very neutral. I don't know that it's going to make a difference which one I use, but what I have been doing, kind of like a, oh, you know what? My stuff keeps getting stuck on a staple over here on some paper. What I've, you know, try to do on every block is add at least one yo-yo and then buttons. And I was successful with that. Here's my yo-yo here and my buttons. Yo-yo, I have two yo-yos and buttons. And then yo-yo and buttons. So I want to keep up with that theme, so to speak. So I can have my yo-yo. I have, you know, you guys know. When you work with fabric, there are threads everywhere. I kind of like that there. And then I have these. I like all of these buttons. This one is more like a deep maroon color, which I just think is beautiful. I don't know if it's right for this particular project. Maybe I'll take that one off. And I have, these are all brown. This one, actually these two, both kind of look like they're supposed to look like wood. This one actually, I think, has some wood on it. And then this one is just like a light chocolate brown color. So I could do something simple like that. That would look pretty. But then, I don't know, then I feel like, is it too heavy on this side with stuff? So let's see if we change that. What if I put the yo-yo over here and then these over here? Oh, I like that. I think I like that better. You know, and chances are when I actually sew, it will maybe change, but I like this composition right here. I do. All right, so I'm gonna kind of move my stuff to the side, and then we will pin this down, and I'm going to just kind of, I guess, share the Kantha stitch with you all. But before I do that, I said at the end of last week's video that I wanted to talk about cast iron pans. I have been wanting to talk about cast iron pans on this Monday video for a few weeks now. So, you know, I have to tell you, honestly, up until 6 months ago, I guess, I never in my life used a cast iron pan. And I don't know why. I think that they can be intimidating. And I want to share what I do with a cast iron pan with all of you, so that you're not intimidated by them. And I don't know, and it works for me, and if it can work for me, I know it can work for you. And I think part of the issue, I want to say, is that I always thought that they were very expensive, and they can be. But the ones that I get are from Walmart. I have 2 of them. I have 2 different sizes. And I actually want to get a 3rd size because I want to get like a 6.5 inch, which would be the perfect size, like if I wanted to make 1 hamburger, you know, or a couple eggs or something like that, something smaller. And they have them so I shop on Walmart.com a lot. It's just like Amazon. It's the exact same concept, where you go on and then there's a bunch of different sellers. So when you're buying, sometimes you're buying from Walmart, but a lot of the times you're buying from other companies. And so you can go on there and put in the search cast iron pan, and you're going to get a lot of different options. And so I can recommend that as well as using Walmart.com. But well, before I keep going, okay, so this is all pinned on now. What I'm going to do is take this yarn, which is brown, and I'm going to start the Kantha stitch. And the Kantha stitch, and we'll get back to that cast iron. I just want to start stitching as I talk, you know, I'm stitching. So the Kantha stitch is a stitch like this. And it's just the running stitch over and over and over in rows. And you can do them different directions. You can do them on, you know, the whole thing. You can do it like around a piece of fabric. You can use different color threads. You can use the same color thread. But that's what I'm going to do. And I decided I wanted to use this dark brown. And so like on this middle piece, I can tell you I will not be stitching over this. I will come in and probably just go around the edge a couple times. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to get this all done on here with you guys, not today, but I did want to start the Kantha stitch. And then, you know, next week we can go ahead and add the embellishments, the buttons and the yarn and yo-yo and that kind of thing on. And then, yeah, it's kind of like an easy block. For me, this is great. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do as I'm talking. And so back to the cast iron. I actually have a cast iron pan I brought here. So, you know what, let me move this. because I don't want to get anything on that. But I'm going to share with you just for a minute. This is one of my cast iron pans. And I think that people get freaked out, and I did as well, that you're not supposed to put soap on a cast iron pan. But I will tell you this. There's a lot of people that do, and they swear that it has no negative effect on the pan. And they've done it for like years and years and years, and you know, they wash it with soap and no problem. So if you wanted to wash yours with soap, have at it, because like I said, there's a lot of people that use soap on cast iron. But what I do is I have this little scraper. It's actually a little, I should have brought it in. It's a little brown scraper from Pampered Chef. It's what they give you when you buy their stoneware to scrape food off of it, because you're not supposed to put soap on that either. But I do put soap on that, but I don't on the cast iron. So what I do is after I cook, and I cook everything in these, one of the reasons that I like it so much is because say I'm going to cook chicken pieces, right? And I can start the chicken pieces on the stove, get it nice and brown, and then I just take this whole thing and I shove it in the oven and it cooks. So it's a one pan kind of thing. And so when I'm done, you know, you can have a lot stuck on the pan, but you can see that this has oil in it. So I always keep avocado oil in it, and you should keep some sort of oil in your pan. And but when I'm done cooking, I will let water soak in it, whether it's a couple hours. I usually clean it in the same night. I don't always let the water sit in there until the next day. I try not to do that, but I want it to soak a little bit. And after a couple hours, I come in and I scrape the sides and the bottom with my little scraper. And it's almost like it's similar to like a card, where you're just going to go in and you're going to scrape. And it works out great. And then what I do is I take the paper towel and I just wipe it out. I rinse it. I wipe it out with a paper towel. And sometimes, you know, some little food that might be stuck on there like comes off when I'm wiping it with the paper towel. So if that happens, I'll use a second paper towel, and then I'll know that it's clean. And then I put, I don't know, a quarter size drop of avocado oil. I take another paper towel and I just wipe it around. I wipe it up the sides and of course all in the bottom. This is a Lodge brand, Lodge. Both of mine are, and even the little 6.5-inch one that I want to get is also a Lodge, which is a you know, a well-known name. And this particular pan has high sides. Like my other pan is bigger around and the sides are lower. So this one's a little smaller and the sides are higher. And I use both of them. So and yes, they're heavy. They absolutely are heavy. But I'm going to tell you something. When you cook in a cast iron pan, it tastes totally different than in a regular pan. You know, I watch a lot of homesteading videos. So last year when I started gardening, you know, I mean, I learned gardening from YouTube, just like we all learn all kinds of stuff from YouTube. And I got into, like, if you search on YouTube for homestead or homesteading or homesteader or something to that effect, you're gonna get a lot of different options to watch. And I have learned so much. I mean, my whole way of cooking and thinking is just different. It has totally changed the way I eat. It changed, like for example, I'll tell you a couple things. So I'm just doing a running stitch right across, and then I'm going to come down. You can decide, you know, how much space you want in between each row. And you can, of course, do your stitches as big or small as you would like as well. I'm going to just go ahead and just keep going. So I'm going to do the second row. But so like a couple things that I learned. One is, well, I learned about the pans, but I also learned, like, for water, I used to buy a lot of bottled water, and one day I'm like, well, this is crazy. Why? Like, there has to be a good filter or something out there that I can use, because I wasn't feeling good about, well, spending all that money on water and also all the plastic. And I mean, we are just one household, and there's like 2.5 of us that live here. My son, myself, and my granddaughter is here like half the time during the week. And am I doing this even straight at all? Let me see. Good enough. And so anyway, I went on YouTube, of course, because where else do you go? And I found this channel, and she actually is a homesteader, but she does a lot of like decorating in-home videos. And the name of her channel is Tidbits. But I think that even her video, when you go onto her YouTube page, that video that's like kind of there for everybody to view, I think it's the one that I'm talking about. So there's a company called Berkey, and they make, it's not so much a filter for water. Let's see here. Let's see. But it's hard to explain. I will try to put a photo here. And here is the Berkey water purifier sitting on my counter in my kitchen. I have it on a book so that I usually have a little shelving unit under it so that my cups and stuff can fit under it. But they do sell stands that you can actually put this on, but I didn't need that. So yeah, so that is the water filter. And there's a box of tissue so you can kind of compare the size, you know, and you can get different sizes. But I love it. I've been using it for, I don't know, 8 months. And what you do is it comes with filters in it, and you pour tap water. You can use lake water. I don't know that you can use ocean water. That I don't know if you can or not. But lake water, pond water. So like if you go camping a lot, you could take, like, they have the smaller camping size. So anyway, I watched her video, and she did where she sent out samples of water, and you know, so anyways, I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm getting. And I have definitely, you know, paid for, it's been, you know, paid for itself already. And all you do is you put your tap water in it. So I have a big pitcher, and I put tap water in it. Probably, I mean, again, it depends on your family and on the size and everything. Me and my granddaughter, we're mainly the ones that use that water. And I would say every other day I put water in it. And because I use it for my coffee, I use it to drink. I don't use it to cook with. I don't feel like I need to do that, because usually you're cooking and it gets hot, the water, and I feel like it's okay. But Yeah, so, you know, you would have to decide for your family the size that you would need, as well as, um, yeah, yeah, the size and what you want to use it for. So I use that for water, and I don't buy water bottles anymore. Now I did stock up on water bottles, you know, the past couple of years. So I'm going through those as they come to an expiration date, and I'm filtering those like Poland Spring. I'm filtering even those in this Berkey water filter. Speaking of expiration dates on food and drinks, this is one of the other big things that I've learned watching homesteading videos. So they do like a lot of canning, they do a lot of freeze drying, they do a lot of fermenting. But the one thing that I learned from them is that you really, there's like very little that when you cook things that I want to say should be thrown away. That's probably not the right word to use because I'm still actually learning to do it myself. Is to, you know, try to really use everything that you have and not waste. Now they have chickens and animals that they can feed, you know, a lot of their stuff to. Their, you know, their scrap pieces or leftover stuff or stuff that isn't good for human consumption but is okay for animals. So they have a lot more options. But knowing that, what they also do, which at first I was almost like, I really had to embrace this concept. And the concept is that, well, first of all, the first thing is that the dates on items, a lot of times, first of all, it reads, you know, best by. You know, it's a best by date. It does not mean that, like, if today was the date that was on a can of food, that, okay, so yesterday it would be fine and today it's all of a sudden not fine because it met the date on that can. So, I mean, I have learned to not go so much by date, but more on, well, is it still good or not? And like I use canned food that is way past expired. I don't know that I don't know. I mean, you could probably, I don't know. Like, I don't know health wise. I can't guide you there. But all I know is I have at least, a few months, I would use canned stuff that has a best by date or even an expired date of, a while back. And so I've learned that from them as well. And you can take even stuff that, is starting to go bad, and you can freeze dry and dehydrate, and make your food shelf stable. And I don't do any of that yet. I don't. I did buy a dehydrator at one point, but I returned it because I didn't like it. But, one day maybe I'll get another one. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll start canning this year. But, that you have to buy the jars, right? So I don't know that. I don't know. First I have to plant my garden and grow stuff. So that's my first goal. But anyways, so my point being that, like, even like fruit. So what they do, I just pulled this pin right out. What they do is, like, things that I would throw away because it looks too soft or something to me, like, they use I mean, so I'm trying not to be so picky about that kind of thing. Now, I'm not going to use anything that's rotten or moldy or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But like, take a potato, for example. Like, if it's going to look real shriveled and have, you know, a bunch of the eyes growing on it and all of that, you know, I would not use that, especially if it felt soft. And so in the past, I would never use that. But now, like, if you cut that open and the inside is fine, you can, I mean, even, excuse me, you could even like taste a little bit of it just to make sure. But they use this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been way too picky, way too picky. And now I think more about, you know, just making sure that I'm going to use as much as I can of the food that I have and throw as little out as possible. So that's kind of like my new way of thinking. And yeah, and I don't know. And I feel good about it. I feel good about it. And maybe, you know, what I'm saying is grossing some of you out. I don't know. But just know that that is out there, you know. So if you wanted to go and search for some videos, you know, you'll definitely find them. And yeah, so like I would love to get chickens. Oh my gosh, I would love it. But I don't think that I can have chickens where I live. So, you know, I don't think so. What I think is if you had chickens, you know, like a while back, because, so, you know, most of you know that I live in what was my grandparents' house. And, you know, I have relatives and houses all around me. And my mother was born in the house next to me that my cousin has. And then I have cousins on the other side and across the street. So I have a lot of family around. But in the house that I live in, my backyard, which is big, it's a very large, it's a long backyard. And my grandmother, and I remember this, I remember her garden. She gardened the whole backyard. And before my time, you know, they had the cow, they had the chickens, they did it all. But I remember the garden. I remember her hoeing up potatoes from the ground. I remember she would have flowers. I remember her rose garden. I remember picking strawberries out of her garden and eating them. So, I mean, she just had the whole gamut. And so they used to have animals. And even I remember up the street from me, gosh, you know, in the past 20 years, I remember there being sheep. There were sheep and goats, I think that there was. They're gone now. So I kind of think if you had them at a certain point, it was grandfathered in. And I don't know that you could now just go out and get chickens and have chickens. Like I wouldn't have a rooster because I wouldn't want, you know, that would be bad, you know, waking everybody up. And you don't have to have a rooster to have chickens that lay eggs. But think about it, you could have chickens that you I want to say, what's the right word? You can have meat chickens that you eventually eat. Or you can have chickens for the eggs. And if you think about that, you know, when you have eggs, you have, you know, you can make a lot with eggs, right? And eggs are definitely a staple in a kitchen. So I would love to have chickens, and I would love my cousin next door to have a cow, because if you can have milk, oh my gosh, thank you. You know, you can have not only milk to drink, but you can have, make cheese, right? And cream, and just, I don't know. But I wouldn't want a cow, because that would, I think, scare me too much. I don't know. I mean, I love the Jersey cow. I think that they are the cutest cows, and not because I live in New Jersey. I don't know if the name has anything at all to do with New Jersey, but they are the cutest stinking cows. And so I would love to have like a Jersey cow. But you know what? If I was younger, and if I had a household, you know, a husband and kids and everything that could help, that would be different. But at this stage in my life, no way. I would not have the energy or anything to even think about maintaining anything like that. So I do think I could do chickens though. So maybe I'll just have to go on to the town website and see about the whole chicken thing. But anyway, so, and I have plenty of room to have chickens. Plenty. So I would do that, and I would do it for their eggs. And you know, when you do something like that, well, I would, and I'm sure a lot of you would too, you know, I would love to have the chickens. I wouldn't get a gazillion of them. I don't know, 4, 6 chickens, maybe 8, something like that. And I can't eat all those eggs myself. So of course my family would get eggs, you know, in neighbors and family that are close by, and that kind of thing. So, you know, I would grow them. I would have chickens, also for the purpose of the neighborhood, of my community. And just like with the vegetables, so this year, you know, I have a lot more seeds, and I'm expanding from just the container gardening to raised beds. But I think the same thing. I mean, I grow only what I'll eat. I'm not going to grow something just because, which is fine if that's what you want to do and you're going to sell it or whatever. But I definitely want to be able to share food. And if I can do that, even just a little bit, wow, that would be, like last year, being that it was my first time having a garden at all, I was just happy to see something grow. Last year was more about, can I even do this? Will anything grow for me? Because I can't grow a plant in the house. Nope, I kill them. So I'm like, well, can I even do it? And I could. I did it. And I'm still eating some stuff. Like I have in my freezer, I have green bell peppers. I have some herbs, which I will not freeze them again. Next year I would dehydrate them all. And there's ways, so I guess I do dehydrate. I just don't use a machine. So I either let it just dry out, or I do it in the microwave. And I'll do more of that this year. And I'm just thinking about what I'm doing here. I'm talking so much. You know, that's what I like about these videos. I just kind of go off on a tangent. But I'm sharing my heart. I'm sharing with you, you know, something that to me is important. And so, yeah, so that's part of why I want to grow things and preserve things. But I am using, like I was saying, some herbs from last year's garden, some bell peppers, you know, I have basil, parsley, dill, something else I'm forgetting. Yeah, so a little bit. I was able to preserve just a little bit of stuff from last year. And yeah, so anyway, so that's the scoop, and I don't know how I don't know, that conversation went like all over the place. From a cast iron pan. Oh my gosh. And I just wanted to pop in here real quick to remind everyone that this Saturday, February 18th, Carol from Recrafted by Carol and I are hosting a one-day open collaboration, a sewing collaboration. You will use hashtag #SewMyHeart. You can post on YouTube, you can post on Instagram, and you're going to be using fabric, hearts, and you're going to stitch. So everyone is welcome to join us. You are all invited. We would love to have you. The announcement video is below in my description box if you want to get further information. What else? I guess that's it. Let's see how long I've been going, because I just talk and stitch. Oh, 48. Oh, wow. Okay, well, I'm over my 30-minute limit. Well, that's my own limit, which you guys know. I don't always meet, but we're doing good. We're doing good. So I have the Kantha stitching. I love that dark brown. I wanted something that would be really noticeable, and it is. And so next week, I'll try to have the rest of the Kantha stitching done, and we're going to get down these pieces. Yay! Oh, this is good. This is real good. And then, honestly, then this block is done. This was an easy one. And then we have one more. All right, well, let me know if you have any questions about anything that I said. And all I can do is recommend and tell you how things work for me and why or why not I like something. And I mean, I don't, health-wise, safety-wise, I can just tell you what I do. So you would have to, you know, figure it out for you and your family if it's something that's good for you. But that's it. So I will see you on Wednesday. I'm going to be sewing tomatoes. Yes, tomatoes for the Roxy Journal of Stitchery. So that's coming on Wednesday. And then on Friday, I have a paper crafting. I'm working on a junk journal with paper, and that's a collaboration, and I'd love to have you pop on in for that as well. But I will see you next Monday for another Crafty Chit Chat and slow stitching video. God bless. Bye-bye.